Okay,
Yeah, it's been recorded. Yeah.
so welcome, Mr. Kamrul Tarafder. May I call you Kamrul ji?
Yes, yes, Kamrul. Just Kamrul is enough.
No,
Please.
Kamrul ji is
You know,
good
now-
also. It's
nowadays,
some respect in the part of the world we come from. And Mohsin ji, Professor Mohsin,
No longer in the academia, but
okay. So this interview is being conducted by myself, Arvind Ashta, professor from the Burgundy School of Business, and Mr. Mohsin Habib, former professor and now working with ASA Philippines Foundation, and we are interviewing Mr. Kamrul H. Tarafder, who is the founder CEO of ASA Philippines. According to the annual report of ASA Philippines is now the biggest microfinance institution in East Asia, Southeast Asia, Southeast and all of East even, I would say, because the Chinese institutions are not so big. They are big amounts, but not big in numbers of clients.
Yeah.
So, as I said before, Mr. Tarafder, this interview is being recorded. You had said that it's okay for that. You're okay with that?
Yes. Yes.
And,
yes.
So this first interview is on you. It's not about your enterprise. It's about you as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I would like you to go back to your primary school, middle school, high school, and tell us what you studied, okay, and why you made these decisions. And each time there's a change, all the way to university. Each time there's a change, what were the emotions you were feeling, and what was the rationale, both? So the intelligence side and the heart side. Okay, each time could be negative emotions, could be positive emotions, which directed your change, influence of the family, and so on.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with young Kamrul ji.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Arvind. It's a pleasure to talk to you. I was very happy to meet you in Glasgow. But anyway, as you were asking about myself, I was born in I would say that it was just an average family economically. My both parents are teachers. But when I was born, it was only my father was working. He was the head teacher in our area. Was born in a very remote place in Bangladesh. So we were.
Is that near Dhaka?
No, it's in Greater Sylhet, the district called Hobbygonj. Today it's a district, but when I was born, it was a subdivision at that time. But I was not born in the district town. It was even much farther, in a very remote village called Sri Baur. And you know, Sri is the Sanskrit language. Sri means beautiful, a beautiful village. And I was not the first child. My parent had another child, my elder sister, who died at infancy, and it was a infant diarrhea. She passed away because of the lack of treatment or lack of understanding what was the illness. Though my father knew that it was a diarrhea and he wanted to treat, but there was no means to treat. There was no hospital nearby, and a quack who attended did not allow to put even a single spoon of water. I was told by my mom how she passed away. The little baby wanted to drink something, and she tried to lick her lips, but the quack said, "No, you don't give any water. But eventually she passed away. Then after 8 years of their marriage, I was born. So you could imagine how lovely child I was. So I was the my dear child of the both parents of the family. In the school, I was doing just fine because my father was the head teacher of the school, and he was the teacher. He was, well, for everything, it's my parents who gave me the lessons. Either it is Arabic lessons or Bangla lessons or arithmetic. It is my father and my mother who was giving. And I really value because they are the hero of my life. I have two characters in my life. One is I'm very much persistent, and if I want to fight, then I fight, and I contemplate how did I get it, and I see that it is my mother who gave me this. And most of the time, I go by the philosophy of my father, who I would say that uh, a personality who would never question to someone. If somebody would like to deprive him, he will simply give it up. Okay, it's yours, you just take it. There was a time I think I was already graduated from the high school, and he had a problem with his colleague, one of the teachers, and I told him that, why don't you take some actions? And repeatedly, I told him several times. Then he was little bit annoyed to me, replying that, have you not read uh, the great quotation of Kapal Kundala of Bankim Chandra? I'm sure you have heard about him.
Yes, yes.
The great writer,
Yes.
Bankim Chandra. In the Kapal Kundala, he was saying that in Bangla it was, Tumi Odhom. তাই বলে আমি উত্তম কেন? You might be the vicious, but why I shall not be the best? So he didn't mention anything about his colleague. He said that, well, some people will do something for you, that's their character, but why I should be portraying myself exactly the same to them? That's not the character of a human being.
This was your
So
friend who said this.
Yeah, that's my father. You know, my father, because I'd like to give you this just for the why I actually admired him. It's only now I realize who he was. He passed matriculation in 1942. And at that time, in our areas, there was no people who passed that matriculation. So people from 20, 40 miles distance, they visited our house just to see who is that young man was able to pass the matriculation. So you could imagine how backward that place, how uneducated that place at that time.
So
People
just for
from
the audience, I'll say matriculation is class 10.
yes,
Yeah.
today in British they call it O level,
Right.
and we call it SSC, secondary school certificate.
Mhm.
So anyway, he passed this 1942, and then he immediately joined the British World War, and he was deployed as a second lieutenant. After 3 years, the war was over in 1945. I think at the mid 45, the late 45, he was able to come back home. But he was requested by his commanders, his captain, his colonels, his major. Everybody suggested him that you should go back come with us in England, and you will have a good future, and you'll have a good job. You are an educated person. But he didn't. He was a personality who loved his own place, wanted to come back to see his people, his village, and serve the people, and came back and got the primary school job. But primary school job, when I learned, his salary was 80 taka at that time. When I was in the grade 3 or 4, his salary was 40 taka. So it was not actually good money, but it was not also small money for a village school teacher. We were just living just a decent life, but in the very rural place. But anyway, the point what I was trying to say, he was a second lieutenant, and all his earning was sending every month to the family. And one of his siblings who was managing the family was spending all the money he was sending to maintain the family. But he was managing his personal business. So he created his wealth by making his business. And his sibling, who was in the war field, earning money, sending money back to the family, that hard-earned money from the war field was the use for the family sustenance. So when he came back, he had nothing. He had zero. And when the family get the separation from each other, the inheritance property was distributed to among the siblings. He got the list, and he did not say anything to the brothers or anyone. It was only my mom who mentioned those things to me. And I was a little bit upset with my father, why he did not go to England. If he would have gone there, would have lived a very good life. Right? But eventually I realized that no, it was the call of the God. And if he had gone there, probably we would have grown up in a different way. He would not have met my mom, and I would not have been in their family. I would have been in a different family. Or I would have been come up with of your thought. And I would not have been part of the great institution. I have part of these millions families, part of the thousands of staff that I have. And overwhelming majority, they would like to emulate what I do, the way I lead my life. They would like to emulate it in their life. I might not have economically a very good life like a rich man, but I have a very good fulfillment in my life. But anyway, so going back to my school, I was until grade 5, I was always the first in the class. There was a time a new teacher came to the school, and he saw my handwriting, and he thought that somebody else who wrote it for me. And he got angry when I said that I wrote it. Hey, why don't lie with me? He didn't want to believe that I wrote it by myself. Then he went to see my father, that this boy said that he wrote it by himself. But he didn't know that I'm the son of the headmaster. Then my father introduced me to him, saying that he is my son, and he actually wrote it himself. Then my father was transferred at the request of my grandfather from my mother's side. And he took me there. There was a change of culture, and I was second in that school. Though my father is still there, but I was second. Another boy took over me. I was really very, very emotional at that time, that I was no longer a first boy in the class. We settled in a new place. My father built a new house there. It's called Tiliapara. It was a place very popular during the 1971 liberation war between Pakistan and Bangladesh. So we had to leave again. 1969 or late 1970, we left the place, and our house was devastated. It was burned and smashed by the tank. I had a beautiful garden at the front of my house. I made it by myself. So when he came back, I could not recognize. It was a beautiful house with the nice plants and the trees. And when I came back after the war, I see that it was just a barren place, no trees, no houses. So it was a emotional struggle also. But anyway, after the Liberation War, 1972, I passed the SSC with the first class, first division, we used to call it that time, with a scholarship. But the family was...
How old were you at this time?
Sorry?
How old were you at this time? 16, 17?
I think I was 16
16
at that time.
Right.
Then I was admitted to a college. It's in the district town, which is around 25 miles from our place. But the family economically was devastated because we lost everything, houses, the properties, and we had to start all over again. The reason why we survived at that time, we were supposed to be Venice in any way, but we survived because we had a ration card.
Ration card, okay.
And the ration card was issued. My father was the teacher, government employee, and we used to have the rice, wheats every month allocations at a very discounted price. That helped us just to barely survive. But we could not have built up the houses anymore. It was just a makeshift, you could say, makeshift house we made. But anyway, I was admitted to the college. My father did not have chance to buy me a set of book because he didn't have enough money, or probably it was because one of his colleague in another school, because my father was highly regarded in the whole, we used to call it police stations, because of his knowledge and because of his principle. So one of his colleagues volunteered to give his book to me, and it was English. Though my father used to teach me English, but I was not in English verse at the high school at that time. So all the sets of book I received, these are English medium. So I was in a severe puzzle in the college. So everything, all the lessons I had to memorize. And I was not very much confident enough. So I thought I should drop the first examinations, and I dropped it, which my father was devastated. But anyway, second time I tried, and I was successful. But I think I lost my score already. My parents had a dream to make me a doctor.
What were you studying in the university?
It was in the college. At that time, it used to be divided into three. You take only three one of the three areas. It's science, arts, and commerce. So I took the science, and in the science, I took biology because the dream was to study medical at some point.
Right.
But since I lost my score, did not pass the first year, so the dream has gone.
Right.
So I think I lost my mind, and the study was not in the mode anymore. So I was looking for a job.
But you were demoralized.
You could say in some way I was.
So what particular emotion were you feeling at that time?
The emotion was probably I'm not worthy of something anymore. So I should be looking for job as soon as possible so that I could support my family, my parents. That was the only mind, only thought in the mind. But I was not actually outgoing personality. Rather, I was an introvert.
Right.
So if you want to get a job, you have to you have to go to different places. You have to apply in different places. I was not able to do that. So it was my mother. It took me several years. Got a recommendation from our local MP and then gave me an application form that you should apply, and then local MP, a member of parliament, will recommend for you for a job. It was a government project, but it's not government service, but a government project as an NGO, healthcare project. I got it. It was in 1982. I got the first job in an NGO as an administrative assistant. My interview was
in the 8 years you had finished your college, or
it should have been 72, late 72. I passed because war has taken at least 1 year from my education life, so I was late to be graduating high school, and then admitted to the college, and it was supposed to be 2 years, but I eventually I took 4 years. So there was a break of study at the sessions in the college. I think the certificate was for 76, but I got it at early 78. My HSC certificate.
Okay.
And then I got my job, first job, it is 1982. And then the interview was.
What did you do for these from 1976 to 1982? How did you pass your time?
Well, my father was engaging me. He would take me to his school. And, at that time, there was always a shortage of teachers. So he would give me some assignments as a voluntary job.
Right.
In the school. So it's mostly spending time with the family, my father, and the friends.
So did you feel you were drifting, or did you feel that you had a purpose? How did you feel?
Oh, the feeling was really devastating, because I was looking for a job at which I could not have it. But if you do something voluntary job, and if you're not get paid, and when you are in a desperate situation, if you're a rich man and if you do voluntary job, of course you are happy to serve it. But for a personality who has nothing,
yes,
your self-esteem is not there.
Right.
But anyway, when I was given a hope and I was interviewed by a military colonel, he was the director. My interview was really just fine. Even without recommendation of the local MP, I could have gotten that job. I was very, very happy when I was selected. And the colonel, who was the director, he mentioned through one of his assistants, um, director, that my interview was good. Even if there was no recommendation, I would have gotten the job. So I was really happy at that time. And it was so uh, happiness came to the family because um, my father at that time, he was in 1982, he was also got his retirement.
Right, right.
I think 6 months before I got the job, he was retired. And my mother, who left her job after she lost her first child,
Right.
she was the founder of another school, a girls' school, in my birthplace. But he left that job at that time because the family was doing very fine, and she thought that probably because she was working for a uh, uh, outside of the family, the conservative family thoughts.
Right.
She is a lady from a conservative family, and she's working, and probably this is the reason the God has taken their child. That was her thought. So she left that teaching job. But anyway, 1982, it became the desperate situation for the family. So she was looking for something to do by herself. So she started to establish another school in the new places where we are in now. And then eventually she started by donating some family property, building up the school, though it was not a concrete school, but with the local materials, uh, uh, the bamboo um, and bamboo and straw materials. She built up a school and started again. Eventually, after a couple of years, it was adopted by the government, and some government official helped her to convert this school into her name. So today, this school is there. It's a government school. It is by her name. So we're really, really proud of that school. But anyway, when I got my job in 1982, it was something like that, in the morning, when you plant, if you have a vegetation at the front of your house, you will see during noontime, these are leaning down as if they will be dying in a couple of hours. But you put some water, and at the late in the afternoon, you see the plants just stood up again. So getting my job was just like this. A family
Right.
of four, two boys and two girls. I am the eldest in the family. So my job was just a security for survival. And and then my self-esteem came back. I did uh, good performance um, in the job. Everybody was happy, though deployment was very a remote place, not far from our place, but it was not in the city, again in the rural area. But I was admired by everyone.
Right.
I established a club. You could say that it is an NGO to assist others. We created our own. There was always lack of communications. The streets, my club that I established, it made I think 4 kilometers. No, sorry, 2 kilometers long path, a voluntary job by the villagers and the friend circles. We established sanitary toilet for the railway station where there was no sanitary, there was no toilet. The passengers were waiting there for for 30 minutes for the train, and there are ladies, they cannot go. My club was able to help establish a toilet for the passengers. So these are some voluntary activity I was able to start.
What was the,
So I
what was
was
the name?
at a
What was
very
the
high
name of
spirit
the
at that
NGO?
time.
What was the name of the NGO?
We gave a local name. In English would be Towards the Light.
Uh-huh.
I was the Secretary General and also running it, organizing it, going to the people for the contributions. We didn't ask for any financial contribution, but we asked always for the physical contribution of people.
So you joined as Secretary General, or you got promoted separate slowly to this place?
Well, I was elected as the Secretary General of the club or the NGO.
No, but what I meant is the NGO which you joined in 1982.
Yeah. No, it was a job, but I was an administrative assistant at the NGO.
How
And
long?
at the same time, I established another, you could say it's a local club or an NGO, but it was a registered corporation.
Right.
A voluntary corporation for the local people.
So at the same
for the
time,
benefit of the local people.
In 1982 itself.
Yes.
Okay.
Probably I forgot it is 1982, probably 83. 83. After first year of my job.
So okay. So you started your and this Towards the Light is the one which you started.
Towards the Light is the club or NGO I created, but my NGO was the name of my NGO was where I was working.
It's okay. You can send it later.
It's long ago, so sorry. Yeah, but anyway, I'll send it to you.
Yeah. It was in Bengali or an American or English or?
It was a Japanese funded NGO.
Japanese NGO. So
Yeah.
how come Japan was starting NGOs in Bangladesh? That is quite unusual, no?
They gave funding to the Ministry of Health, and the Ministry of Health created a project. But they did not take it as a government, but took it as a NGO project. The health minister was the chairman of that NGO.
Okay. Very interesting. Okay, so and then you started your local club, which is Towards the Light, and that was looking after creating sanitary things.
Yeah.
Okay. And how?
Oh, sorry, my wife actually helped me to get the name. Integrated family planning, nutrition, and parasite control project.
Okay.
It's a family planning integrated with the helminth, the human helminth control.
Right.
We were helping children to deworm them and then
deworming, right.
Motivate the parents that you should take care of your children, whoever they are today, and then you should follow a planned parenthood. That was the concept. We were not actually directly giving family planning, but we were helping the family to have a good children with good health and then take care of them.
Right.
Integrated family planning, nutrition, and parasite control project.
So in those days in Bangladesh, the average number of children per family were 5 or 6, I guess.
Yeah, at that time it was probably 6. Already.
6. Okay, but in an Islamic country, was family planning permitted, or was it difficult?
It was not easy, definitely. There were the Muslim fundamentalist was always against. But in our case, I had an advantage because I was not giving any contraceptive. I was with a corporation which was giving the parasite control tablets to the children, and they saw the instant benefit. The children are, yeah, the worms are coming out. The parents, they saw it by themselves, and they saw that the health of the children are getting better. So the concept was pretty much well accepted.
So they didn't want more children because they had enough. They
Yeah.
didn't have to make more children, right? Okay.
And then we were also assisting for the immunization of the children. My project was organizing um, all the um,
Vaccines.
vaccines for the for the children, first year, second year vaccinations program we used to organize, and it was well accepted. And I was very popular. I'm not a doctor, but in the area people used to call the doctor. It was really funny. And I'm
Right.
not a doctor, I'm not a medical technician, but I
Right.
was given a scholarship to go to Thailand. It was after my marriage. I got married to my wife 1986, February 14. It was the Valentine's Day. I didn't know at that time. The February 14 is the Valentine's Day. We got married. And then I got the scholarship to go to Thailand. It was a very short, only 2 weeks, 3 weeks project at the Mahidol University. But it was actually a technical program. And I got the scholarship, and I did very well there. Got a good diploma from there.
The technical program to do what?
Um, uh, how to um, uh, pathological testing of different helminths. You know, the human feces, you put them under the in a slides under the microscope, and then you try to find out which helminth it is. And then by knowing which helminth it is, you provide a certain helminthiasis. Well, I forgot all those medications names of the tablets name, but I used to do very well at that time.
Right. So you became a doctor in a way. You
Not a certified doctor, but I was the people's doctor. You could say from the people's heart, they used to thought, oh, he's a good doctor because he was able to give a good medications, good tablet to our children, and their health was improving.
I would imagine that in those days there were very few doctors who were medically certificate with the diplomas and all that in Bangladesh.
Very few.
And especially in the villages.
In 5 or 6 kilometers or even more, I did not have, there was no medical center with an MBBS doctor. In India, Bangladesh, we call MBBS doctor the first graduation of the medical school, MBBS. There was none.
Okay. I have a question to ask you. Why did you start the club? What drove you to start? It was
because I got the job, for a couple of years. I thought I am worthy of nothing, could not do anything for the family, and I got a job, and the job was appreciated. I did very well at all level. My bosses in Dhaka, in my center, I was the boss. Yeah. I had two laboratory technician under mine. I was leading them. I was not a technician, but I was doing much better than them. Could have identified all those helminths under the microscope by myself. So I was appreciated at all level. So people used to recognize me, not the technicians the real technician there. People would not recognize them, but rather they would recognize I'm the administrative personality, would recognize that I'm the doctor here.
Right. So you got a lot of appreciation and recognition, and that drove you to do more.
Yes, of course. And of course, in the family, everybody is happy because family just survived.
Right.
At that time, my mom's school, I was also helping my mom to establish a school. And after my office, I used to give time to teach in her school. It was not recognized by the government at that time. It took her a couple of years. It was
Right. But
probably
between a
1990.
full-time job and your volunteer for your mother's school, where did you get the energy to start a club?
Oh, well, I don't know. I thought I have all the energies at that time. I thought I should be doing from the morning once I'm awoke, then I do my I go to office, then they finish my job, and then come back to home, and then assist my mom, and then I go to my friend circle to talk about the club or the NGO to establish it, to do something for the villages. I
So
thought
this
this
is
is something
interesting,
I should do. I should be doing.
This is interesting. This is a person for 6 years who had no job, who had no self-esteem, and then he gets a job, and within 6 months of good appreciation, he feels totally energized.
Yes, yes, definitely.
So the amount, the help that recognition and appreciation play in developing human motivation is huge.
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay. But instead of starting a club, why didn't you start a for-profit entrepreneurship? What was the basis of starting a club? A club doesn't means you would not earn any money from it.
That's a very good question. Uh, for profit, I don't think it was in the DNA. First of all, it never came to my mind. And for profit, it requires certain amount of capital I didn't have at that time. And for business in the very rural areas, uh, at least it did not come to my mind that I should have done something in the business sector for ourselves. If I could have, if I could have thought at that time, I could have done something. I could have started something, but incidentally, it was not in the mind at all.
Right.
Doing social work was always repeatedly coming.
Right. Anyway, go on, please go on. So how long did the
it is also probably because if I give you a short background of my grandfather's family, they were the landlord. They're coming from the landlord, but the father of my grandfather sold his landlordship to another. We used to call jamidar. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term.
Same word for landlord in India.
And then wanted to migrate Arab, one of the Arab country, because my family or my ascendant of my family was part of the 1957 the soldiers uprising, and since they were part of it, the family was always hunted by the British government. So they thought they should sell everything and migrate to another country. But eventually, they were not able to go. Sold the property, but was not able to go.
You're talking about 1942. 1942.
No. I think it was even 1800 something, late 1890 or so.
Okay.
I'm talking about my great grandpa. not my
Right,
grandpa.
right,
Great.
right.
So they lost their jamidari, I mean landlordship, the money, cash money doesn't survive many years. So eventually they lost. So my grandfather married to another lady who was also coming from another landlord family. She had a smaller um, um, landlordship. So whatever my parents, my father inherited, it was coming from his mother. It was not from my father's or my grandfather from the father's side. But anyway, let's come back to my life.
No,
We
no,
were discussing.
no. We come back to this because this is important for me for another project. In Islam, normally a woman does not inherit very much. Sons kept it. How come your father's mother inherited? How did she get the property?
Yeah, because she was only child.
Ah,
And then before the death of her father, she made a will. If she didn't make a will, it was divided into several. So he made a will and gave it um, to the daughter.
okay. Okay. Otherwise, the brothers would have got it.
Yes. And she didn't have any brother. Her cousin would have taken it.
Her cousin or the uncles, father's
Yes.
brothers.
Yes, yes, father brothers.
Okay, sorry for this.
No.
Thing. It's just that I'm trying
That's
to
a
understand
very, very right question.
something in Morocco and Turkey. So, okay, thanks.
Yeah. So it was after my marriage, it was my wife who inspired me to continue my study again, because she was a student at that time and she was studying. Um, um, she was about to appear for the bachelor degree, and I'm just an only HSC degree holder. So she tried to inspire me that I should be taking my education. So I started, and it was 1988. I was transferred to another. Give me a second. Somebody was calling me.
Right.
Let me check. Yeah. Hello. Oh. আচ্ছা কি অবস্থা তোমার? হ্যাঁ, আচ্ছা কালকে থেকে তো হজ শুরু হইব। Do you have internet connection so I can call you? I am actually in a I will call you then. I will call you. I'm in. Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
It was.
We'll edit out this part in the video.
Sorry.
Right. Okay. So you started studying again in 1988 after your marriage. Your marriage was
I think
in 1988.
right after my marriage, it was my wife. I saw that she's reading, and she was inciting me to read. So I started. In 88. I appeared the exam and I did well. So I took my bachelor degree, 1988.
Bachelor degree in what?
Bachelor of Arts with economics.
Okay.
Economic and political science. And there are three subjects I was studying: economic, political science, and Islamic history.
And history.
Yes.
Okay. So that's a major change from medicine, from science and medicine.
Yeah, because I can no longer take that course anymore.
Right.
So I thought I should be doing something which is practical to my life.
Right.
So I choose economics was not not an admirable subject at that time, but I thought I should take economics and I
Right.
should take political science. Islamic studies I took not Islamic studies, Islamic history, because I wanted to uh, uh, study. It's just a personal choice.
Right. Right. So, so in fact, your wife motivated you, or you to do this, or just watching her motivated you?
Um, Mostly watching her, but
Right.
she was also inciting me that not she was not pressuring me, but she was saying that probably it would be good to have a degree.
Right. So at the moment you were working for an NGO, you had your club, and you were studying.
Yeah, but the club I lost the leadership because I was transferred
Okay.
from my place. Though I was still there, the secretary general of the club, but
Right.
I was not there. And once I left the place, eventually um, uh, it didn't work anymore. It simply died out. But
Okay.
anyway, I took my degree, and it was a good happiness of life. We got it's also the same year after my graduation, 3 or 4 months after, we got our son in our life. Uh,
Okay.
So I was at the very highest spirit of my life at that time.
You were about 32 years old.
At that time, correct. I was 32 years old.
Right.
31 or 30, yeah, 32 years old, correct.
Right. So uh, for the moment, you had not started working in microfinance.
No, not yet. Not
Okay.
yet.
Okay. So what did you do next?
So um, I was working with that NGO, the Japanese
Right.
government project. I was still
Right.
there. But there was a deterioration between my boss at the headquarters and myself.
Right.
It was a relationship breakup, I would say, and they laid me off.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Right.
So it was another devastation in the life. But with the help of some friends, I was able to
Right.
get a job with another NGO. The name is Diaconia, a
Pardon?
foreign funded
The name? What was
Diaconia,
it? Konya.
Diaconia.
Konya. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You got this job in 1989.
I got that job.
Okay. 1990.
Sorry, 1991. 1990, I lost the job of my first one, which I got in 1982. And in 1991, I got the job with Diaconia. I was deployed as the project officer.
Right. So
No, sorry, development officer.
development
It was
officer.
a community development approach.
Okay.
I had 5 development assistants, and I'm the development officer. We're organizing communities,
Right.
and I was deployed um, It's called Shirajganj, one of the northwest part of the country.
Right.
My wife, my son was with me there.
Right.
But again, there was an issue. The director, who was I forgot his name, a gentleman.
It's okay. We don't need to take names. Because then we need to
But
get
he was very
permission.
popular because he was, when he visited my office, one of my staff, he put the schedule on the board of the prayer schedule. And he was a very secular personality, or a personality, I would say he was a Christian, but you could say that he had his socialism values in his mind. So the religion was not part of his life. So when he visited the office, I was not there. And I didn't notice that my staff put the schedule of prayer in the notice board, which is, I would say that ethically it's incorrect. One should not be putting the prayer schedule of your office notice board. That's utterly unacceptable. I accept this mistake. And I accept this, that I must have noticed it by myself before my director would have found it out. And he was devastated with this one. He did not directly ask me this question, but he quickly left the office, came back to Dhaka, and then there was a relationship breakup. I was doing very well, and I was admired by my work, but suddenly there was a change. So I thought I will not have future in this place.
Right.
So I tendered my resignation.
Right.
I
But
was
you
there
didn't have, you didn't
for
have much money. You didn't have much money, but you let go of whatever was coming in. That must have been a very difficult decision for the family.
Yes. I discussed it with my wife, and my personality is always, if I don't like the environment, I see that it is actually waste of time and effort to stay with that environment. I would like to change the environment as quick as possible. So that's what I did, and my wife agreed it.
Right.
But within 6 months, it was January 1993, I was able to get the job with ASA, Bangladesh. So given my experience, Mr. Chaudhary, the founder of ASA, he gave me a good job, regional head of one of his regions.
Right.
Though there are some recommendations from different people, but I believe those recommendations actually worked to give me the position of the regional head. And I was able to show my credibility. So he gave me very quick promotions. He transferred me to another project at the coastal part of the country, and eventually I became one of the project of ASA Bangladesh, funded by Danida, Danish funding, Danish International Development Agency, Danida, and I got a scholarship to study project management course in Denmark. So where my career actually started to grow. It is ASA Bangladesh, where I saw my managerial career has started to grow. I became project director. And then he actually asked me to prepare a project. He was advised by some of his friends to submit a project for United Nations Development Program. It was 1987. And I was the one who developed the project proposal, and it was accepted. Sorry, not 87, 1997.
Yes, I understood.
But during that time, I was able to develop my career. I became the project director. And in ASA, overall ASA, my position was deputy general manager.
Right.
So the executive, chief executive, then the general managers and the deputy general managers. So I was third in line from the
right.
From the position of the.
So all that shows that you had a tremendous capacity for growth, and you were able to. What do you think? What was the emotions running through your mind, the mood, and all that with all these promotions? Confidence, arrogance. How did you feel? I need both negative and positive emotions, because both of them drive us.
Yeah. I was transferred in the very far place, which is the coastal area, which is very, very far from my own place. And at that time, you can go there only by boat, and it takes 24 hours travel. But I took it as a challenge of development. I did not take it negatively. And in that place, I got a car, and I was the first staff within ASA who had a car. But it came to me after 2 years of my deployment in that place. It's because there were few days in a week where I did not walk 20 kilometers in every day to visit some branches, different places, or to see the projects. I took those as part of the daily life.
Right.
So I would say that endurance, persistence, rewarded by some remunerations, which is, I would say, the promotions, the progress of the program, my interpersonal skills and communication with the local government, district officials, everything actually gave me an advantage, so that it was admired by the chief executive, and eventually I was given the position. There were some mistake made by my boss, who was the project director. I was the second man there, and he made a mistake, and his mistake became my blessings, because he was supposed to be withdrawn, and then only choice there is mine. Me was there, and I was given only as an OIC. So as an OIC, I had to show that, hey, I'm not just an OIC. I should be proving myself that I should be given the permanent position as a director.
What is YC?
OIC is officer in charge.
Office in charge. OIC. Okay.
Because the director was pulled out because of his mistake.
Right.
He created a maladjustment with the local government and some local influential people.
It was a temporary kind of position, and then later it became confirmed.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was also the time I got the scholarship to go to Denmark.
Right. This is all in 1997 or so.
1996, I got the scholarship. I was not the
Right.
director at that time yet, but
Right.
because of my performance, I got the
Right.
scholarship. When I came back, I got the YC position, and then late 1997, I was given the full position to be the director of the program. Um,
Mhm.
the three district was under mine: Patuakhali, Barguna, and the Borishal.
Right. Okay. So ASA was expanding very fast in those days,
In those days, correct.
right?
And
And
the
and it
expansion of
had
the
a
3 days, I have my contribution there for
and it
expansion
had a
in this.
very and it had a very low cost model. It had a
Correct.
low cost, very standardized kind of model,
Yes.
and
They
and
used to call
also
Ford motor model.
Ford motor, yeah, Ford model, right? So and so very lot of standardization.
Yeah,
Everything was standardized.
correct.
So and this is, I presume that some of this way of looking at things is what you took with you to ASA Philippines.
Today, I would say that it is. It is because microfinance was, I don't think by family and the religious thought, I would have admired it, because you give money to the people and you get some money back, additional money, which is in the Islamic concept, it's called haram.
Yes.
But I started to change my thought and the values, and eventually realized that um, the way we're seeing it, it is actually not that the way we are giving. We are not giving actually money to the people, but we are giving a business opportunity to the people. It's a product.
Right.
Though we're really giving a cash, but we're giving a cash to the family to buy a cow or several goats, or to buy merchandise for their business. So in effect, these are actually products. These are not actually money. So for those products, we are getting some extra
But,
money. So
but
I
how can
converted
you,
this.
right? But how can you assure that the money is used for the purpose they say? Because money is fungible, no? Instead of buying a
Yeah.
cow, that money could have gone to buy a fridge.
Hmm.
So how can you be sure that your clients are entrepreneurs?
Yeah, that's one of the question we had to always. It was hunting all of us, if they're actually using. So
Mhm.
it was during my time, we added in the guideline that within 15 days, you have to make a report whether the money was used in the project that
Yeah.
he, the proposed project. If
Mhm.
not, if he has changed, what was what was the business he actually deployed it, or he did not deployed it at all. He spent it for other purpose. So my
Right.
experience is over 95% people actually deployed money in the right project. If not exactly the same project they applied for, but it was some sort of
Right.
income generating project. But 5% people, they always make mistake, and
Of
they
course.
don't use money. And I would say that your success, if it is 95%, it is a good success.
Right. Right. Right.
5% failure, and we would consider that it was probably it was an acceptable uh, error.
Right. Okay. So you, from ASA, what made you leave ASA?
Yeah, I was mentioning that it was 1990, 97, late 97, probably December. I was called to come back to the office, central office.
Mhm.
So I joined to the central office team. And then my former boss, which
Mhm.
I consider my mentor,
Mhm.
he was a very tough mentor. He taught me management and discipline in a very hard way. There was a meeting at the Danish embassy with the ambassador and others, and we were supposed to leave office at a certain time. It was 8 o'clock. Uh, I had difficulties to find a rickshaw. So I started to run, and I was late to come by 5 minutes. And when I came, I saw the face, and he was in the car, and the car was about to leave. And he was so furious. He did not want to take me in the car, but I did not ask his permission. I just took the front seat, opened the door, and get inside the car. And the car started running. He said, "You should get out of the car. I don't want to take me with you." And it was the last time I was late in any one of the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have ever late.
Mm-hmm.
And it stayed in my life all along. But anyway, so he gave me the assignment to draft a project proposal to the United Nations Development Program, and incidentally, it was accepted.
Right.
So he said, "You have to go to the Philippines." And this is the first time an international assignment I should go, and I was a little bit afraid. He said that you should not be afraid of. I'll be joining you, at least for a couple of days with you. So he and I, it was 1998. September 23, 1998, I came to Manila and started with UNDP Philippines. But the assignment was to develop the concept how microfinance consultancy program, they used to call at that time microfinance support project, to support NGOs, cooperatives, and rural bank in the Philippines to give the ASA technology, ASA methodology to the local NGOs. Because the Grameen technology was already there. It was known by almost all NGOs here, but some good people, they thought there should be an alternative, and ASA was almost known at that time that it's the best standardized cost-effective model, and it's the model that can be taken for accelerated growth. That's some of the reasons they actually choose ASA.
Right.
Grameen Bank also submitted their project, but it was ASA who owned the bid.
Right.
And we also gave the very, I think our pricing model was also, we were lowest also. Not only the ASA model was cost effective, but we also gave a very cost effective bid. So there my international assignment started. It was a 6 months project, January or February 1999. I finished and submitted the proposal that this is the design of the project, that we will support around 25 NGO cooperatives and rural banks. Majority NGOs, few cooperatives, and 1 or 2 rural banks we thought we should support. And at that time, I visited 50 institutions in the Philippines, across the country, because of the UNDP program. I traveled across the country as a UN consultant. So I saw how the MFIs here working. I saw their weakness, their strength, and I saw the gap. So even at that time, I already developed the thought that I should make a proposal to my boss that we should not be working as a consultant. Rather, we should start our own NGO there. The market is really very virgin, and we have a good opportunity. Our model is extraordinary, and we could really expand very fast. I did not place it at that time because we are not sure whether we will be given the implementation project. Though there are verbal assurance, but no written award at that time. So I came back, it was probably late February to 1999 in Bangladesh. And within a couple of weeks, we received confirmation from UNDP Philippines that implementation stage is also awarded to us. And it is for 3 years, straight 3 years program, and we should be implementing. At that time, I was deployed there as the chief consultant of UNDP Philippines for their MicroStart program. I had a couple of experts, including an American, his name is Kurt Healy, who wrote several books on ASA's methodology, and a couple of other experts from Bangladesh. I was leading them. Stayed 3 years. So it is late in 1999, I made a proposal to my boss that, sir, we should be starting our own NGO here. If you want to see the progress of your system, it should be us who should be doing it by ourselves. So he said that, let me think about it. And it was late 2020. He told me that 2000, yeah. Sorry, yeah, to late 2000. He said that, yes, you have a point. Probably we should have our own NGOs. So I started working on it. When 2001 or 2002 came in, I asked his permission that I don't have master degree. Can I study at EIM? He said, how are you going to study? EIM is a very expensive school. I said that I'll apply for a scholarship for MDM program. It's called Masters in Development Management. And Bangladesh always has at least 1 or 2 seats. And I thought I should be able to get at least one. There were some couple of friends. One professor from EIM who was a good friend, Professor Onchua, who said that you should apply and you will get it. And he said that we will assist you how to get it. It was an ADV scholarship. So I was almost sure that I will be able to get. But incidentally, I did not get the scholarship. When the time came, it was so unfortunate. For that year, the scholarship for Bangladesh was taken out. So my application was totally ignored or abandoned because Bangladesh quota was not there. So I was devastated. So I called my boss and I asked him, I would like to continue. But he started to discourage because EIM is a very expensive school and he knows that with my income, I may not be able to finish it. He was not very much supportive. And then I proposed them that, what about our thought to start our own NGOs? Then at that time, he said that, Kamrul, what you say, it's correct. If we do by ourselves, our model would show the exponential growth. We'll be able to get our name and fame. But I don't feel good with this because we have assisted 20 NGOs. A couple of them did very well, including CARD. It is a conglomerate here in the Philippines, and a couple of others here. He said that they would not like it. They would say that, you have empowered us with your system and methodology. Now you are competing with us. So I don't like to do it. So I was devastated by two things, that he did not, I proceeded much to start our own program in the Philippines. He gave me permission, and in my heart, I fully embraced this. I was dreaming for it. Then eventually he abandoned it. And then I wanted to study at AIM to finish my master degree. I did not get the scholarship, and my boss, he is not supportive. So I asked his permission. If I want to do it, would he allow me to start an NGO and continue my study, whatever savings that I have? He took some time. Then he called me to go back to Bangladesh, and I went there. And one day he called me in his office. The whole from 9 o'clock until 1:30, it was the lunch time. 1 o'clock is the lunch break, but we took the time until 1:30. It was only me and him was discussing only these two matters. But he was very far. He did not support my education plan, and he did not support the NGO that we should start. He said that, well, if you want to do it, you have to do it all by yourself. ASA will not be with you. So I called my wife, and she was always supportive. And she said, well, if your heart is looking for, then of course you go for it. So I resigned. I stepped out from his office, wrote a letter, and I left the office. I did not enter into the office until my name was established in the Philippines.
So you resigned and you went to Philippines to start your own project. Why did you keep the ASA name? Why didn't you take a new name?
That's a good question. You know, I'm always a person to give credit to the people who or the circumstances of my success. I thought ASA was part of my life. Whatever lessons I have learned, the system I have learned, though I have my own contribution, but I got it from ASA. So I thought that I should take this name with their permission. And then once I would show some progress, they will join. That was my thought.
Okay.
I didn't want to do it all by myself. I thought to do it together with them.
So
And I wrote a letter to my boss, and he said that, okay, the name was given to you. We can do it.
Mhm.
Though
Let
their
you use the name.
their European counterpart, together with their attorney, they wanted to take the name back from me. I did not agree at that time. I said that we have spent time for this name. It was gifted to me, and you don't ask to return the gifts.
When
That's
was this?
unethical.
When was this?
It was 2007.
2007, 3 years later. Okay. Okay.
So anyway, I did not finish my story in the school. So
Right.
when I came back to the Philippines, since I lost my scholarship, a good friend who I assisted, her name is Professor Ruth Calianta. She's the head of another NGO, which has only 500 clients, and 56% was par of their portfolio out of 500 clients. We intervened them, we took them in the program. They became one of the iconic program in the country. So she was very much grateful. She said that, Kamrul, nothing to be worried. I will recommend you to AIM to take another program, which is Masters in Entrepreneurship. And there is a discount for her NGO. You get the discount under our NGO's name. You study and you pay it. You don't pay it all at a time. You pay it on a staggered basis, so you'll not feel that you have spent so much money. So I got a 50% discount, and then I paid it on monthly basis and I took the master's in entrepreneurship. I enrolled myself. It was the 1st July 2000, and then I was graduated December 2003. It was 1.5 years.
So 2002 to 2003. Okay.
Yeah. It was an 18-month course, master's in entrepreneurship.
Right.
And in the school, I was there and I realized that I was in the school after 26 years of my break of study.
Right.
So I was disoriented because I don't have job. I don't have regular income. So I'm spending my little savings that I have. I have my family. My son is studying in international school. So my wife is taking care of, my brother was there studying because I took him there to take an MBA degree there.
How many brothers and sisters did you have finally?
We are 4.
Okay. Okay.
We are 4, 2 boys and 2 girls.
Okay.
So he's the youngest in the family. So I thought I should be supporting him. I took him there. So he finished his MBA, but not from EIM, of course. I cannot afford from my brother from EIM.
Right.
But anyway, my wife was taking care of three students, her son, her husband, and the brother-in-law.
Right. And she was not working.
Yeah, she was not working.
Right.
But the good news was, for 6 months in the school, I was almost lost. It was after 6 months, I was standing by the notice board in the school, and I saw there are some names. And the names, hey, what is these names? Oh, these are the dean lister. Every semester, there are some dean list students, their names are there, published. So most of the students, they will gather there and they'll look, oh, these are the people's there are 3, 4 names. They're the dean lister. And I was wondering, once everybody left, I was standing there alone all by myself. I looked into the list and I know my friends, they're my classmates. I know them, who they are. And probably I know their capacity and their intellectual capacity, their knowledge. And I asked myself, why my name was not there? It was a wake-up call. And then, in the 2nd semester, my name was included already there. But I lost the gold medal because on the 1st semester, I was not in the part of the dean list. So I did not receive the gold medal. But I received distinction in my graduation. My advisor, the professor, most of them, they admired me, my project, and they used to assign me to assist other students.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it was most of my flourishment of my entrepreneurial thought. It's actually in the school. It was my advisor, who is still, I believe, he's the mentor, one of the mentor in my life. It is my advisor. He recommended me to so many philanthropists, businessmen, and he was asking me that you should develop your business plan and you should sell this concept to different institutions, different people.
Let me just ask another question. So there's a lot of debate whether entrepreneurship can be taught, or is it just a mindset of some people, or it's in their personality. So you feel that it wasn't your personality, or was it taught to you?
Well, I would say it was actually, entrepreneurship is actually built in. We in the family, my both parents, they created schools by themselves. My mother, after her name, there is a school now. I created my own club. So it's in the DNA, but
Right.
it was not in my mind that I could create an institutions outside of my own country. I thought I should do it together with my boss, but he abandoned it.
Mm.
But eventually in the school, it was the teacher who told me that, hey, you have this. Why don't you go for it? So it was a discovery in the school.
He gave you confidence. A good teacher can
I
give
would
you.
say that, yeah, confidence and moral support came from him, that you have everything. Why don't you go for it? You should go for it.
Right.
You should develop your concept. You should make your business plan. You should make the short concept paper. And I will recommend you to different businessmen, philanthropists, entrepreneurs who could
Business
support
angels. Business angels.
business individuals.
Mm.
So
Okay.
anyway, the good news was after 6 months, I received a call. After 6 months in the school, I was doing some consultancy to the NGOs I supported before, and they were giving me some allowance, which was just good enough to survive. So I was not actually from hand to mouth. I was doing just fine. But I also received call from Mr. Chaudhary, and he asked me how I'm doing, and I mentioned that I'm part of the dean list now. I'm doing very good in the school. And he said that, can you join again in the UNDP project? So I asked him, of course, it was a good news, but I didn't abandon my independent thought at that time. So I told him, not directly, but indirectly, that I don't want to go back to Dhaka and join as a career professional at ASA. But if you would give me a chance, I will be a consultant of the UNDP program. And if they would be giving me a chance, I would still would like to lead the program there. It was for 2 years. No, another 1.5 year project.
So in fact, you had a 3-year consultancy assignment with the UNDP, and in the middle of that 3 years consultancy assignment, you did your
No, it's
education.
at the end of the consultancy. It was 3.5, 6 months for the preparatory project, 3 years for implementation. And after 3 years, once it was over, I was called. And then in the meeting, it
Right.
came out that my boss is not supporting me for my
Right.
education as well as
Right.
the NGO. So I thought I should leave. But after 6 months,
So
I
2003,
was in
right?
the school. He called me and then he asked me if I could join. And of course, I took it an advantage if I would be given a chance as an independent consultant so that I don't lose my independence. I continue my study. I continue my job with UNDP. So it was a win-win at that time. So I accepted it. I consulted my, and then I
So
got
you
my
accepted,
position.
you got your position in UNDP, not with ASA.
Yes, again, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was,
So
so
that
you were
was
doing.
I would say that in my career, the past career, it was the best time, I would say, because at that time I was working as an event consultant, of course, on behalf of seconded by ASA.
Right.
I was able to finish the graduation, my master's in entrepreneurship with distinction, and my advisor was recommending me to different philanthropists, businessmen, business individuals, and I saw that the
You were 47
future is
years old.
there
You were 47 years old.
at that time. Correct.
Right.
I was 47 years old.
Okay. And you were not thinking of retirement.
No, I thought it was just the beginning. It was
Right.
just the beginning.
Right.
And, you know, uh, we It was sometimes in August. I was graduated in December, but in August, I'm still in the, and of course, I'm still in the UNDP as a professional. I was invited to speak to a small group, to an NGO, CC Development Foundation. The chairman is Ambassador Howard D. If you look at my website, his name is there. He's the current chairman, but he's stepping down. He's 93 years old. He's stepping down. We're taking in a new chairman by next board meeting. So they requested to make a presentation. And I made a presentation. It was just a 1 hour presentation. But I was grilled after the presentation by his staff. He was quiet in the meeting. And his staff was saying that, hey, it's not possible. If that's so simple that you could start a project with just only 6 million pesos for one branch, and it becomes successful within it's sustainable or break even in 6 months, in 12 months. Their thought is good to be true, very, very good to be true.
So 6 million pesos is 100,000 euros, right?
Correct.
Right.
100,000. 120 US dollars.
Yes.
120,000 US dollars. So at the end, he said, please stop. So everybody got quiet. And then he said that I understood his model and I believe it will work. So the meeting ended here and he called me in his office. And then we started to discuss about ourselves, our personal life, how I come from, where I come from. And I also wanted to see, know his personal visions and missions. And we see that there was an alignment between the visions of his personal life and mine. I saw that it might work. A collaboration with him will work. I'm saying because my mom visited several times in the Philippines. So there was a time, it was at the end of the, she was present when I was graduated. My graduation picture, when I took the diploma, she was with my side. It was her wish all the time that I should be finishing my master's degree. So I wanted to give her a pride. So she was there during my graduation. And when I mentioned to her that there are some individuals are willing to support to start a project, to start a lending company by giving me 40% share. But she was almost crying that you were coming from a very conservative religious family and you would be starting a lending business by yourself. I really cannot imagine it. So I did not say anything to her, but it was in my heart. And so when Ambassador D, he said that he is also supportive to start something not for profit. And of course, in all my life, I worked not for profit. ASA Bangladesh at that time did not have ASA International. So I thought ASA Bangladesh for lifelong, they will be also for profit. So the for-profit concept was not ingrained in my heart or my brain. So in that discussion, we discussed for 3-4 months. Ambassador, he used to call me every once in a week or every other week to just only for discussion. And it was January 2004.
Right.
in one of the meeting. He tried to convince me. Uh, he read my business plan, and my business plan said we need 150 million pesos capitalization to serve 150,000 clients in 5 years. So he got this three things: 150 million, 150,000 clients in 5 years. And
Right.
he convinced me that, Kamrul, it is possible for us to arrange 150 million because ACC itself has annual budget of 100 million. 25% comes from our internal sources, and the 75% comes from external sources.
So I just want to come back first.
Mhm.
At some point, you had mentioned that you would have 40% of this. If it's
Mhm.
NGO, how would you get 40%? There would be no shares, no, if it's an NGO.
Yeah, but I nominate board members.
Right.
There are
Right.
7 members, including myself. There are 3 that myself
You
and I nominate another 2, while
right.
ambassador, he nominates 4. So he still controls, but I also have my shares there.
Right. So
It's written in the articles of incorporation. The Kamrul, whose brainchild is the foundation, will nominate.
I'm looking for his name. His uh, Edward S. Go.
No, Ambassador Howard D. Howard Q. D.
Howard QD. Okay, so it must be in a different report, 2020 report. I will look in 2020 report. Yeah, no, again, it's Edward S. Go,
Yeah,
chairman of the board.
yeah. Ambassador D is a very different personality. He supported everything. Finance came from him and Mrs. Aquino, the late president of the Philippines.
Hmm.
But despite my request, he was not in the board. He was nominating people. And Ambassador Mr. Edward Go, he is the one who nominated.
He's a nominee. Okay. Okay.
And Mr. Go passed away last year, September last year.
right.
Edward Go passed away, and we have no choice. I forced Ambassador D. We have no choice. You should become the chairman because we have a window of 30 days to nominate a chairman.
Yeah. Why do you
I
call
said,
him
okay,
ambassador?
I'm going to be the
Why do you call
chairman.
him ambassador?
He was the ambassador of the Philippines at the Vatican during the President Ramos time.
Okay.
So in the Philippines, if you are ambassador once,
right, all your
you will
life.
be called forever. Yeah,
Right.
for lifelong. You're ambassador.
Right. In France, if you're minister once, you're called minister all your life. So
yeah.
Okay, very good. Very good. Okay. Anyway, so I'm sorry for this disturbance. I was just trying to clarify things.
Yeah.
So let's go back.
The significance of the meeting with ambassador was he tried to convince me that I should be putting myself firm decision to establish it because finances will not be an issue. 150 million would be easy. He said that for ACC, we arrange annually 100 million. And you are asking for 150 for 5 years, so annually 30, it's easy to arrange. So do not worry.
So this 150 million is 2 million euros. About 2.5 million. While earlier
Or
you
at
were
that
talking
time,
about
3
100,000.
million US dollar, roughly 3 million US dollar.
Right. While earlier we were talking about 100,000 euros or $120,000.
It was the model of a branch, single branch.
Okay.
Because when I was selling the model, business model, I was selling the model of one branch.
Right. And here you're talking about many branches.
Yeah. Okay. So in the business plan, which I submitted to some philanthropists, including ambassador, is 150 branches.
Right.
Over 5 years, that requires 150 million pesos or 3 million US dollar.
Right.
But I also mentioned it if we get to the break even, we will no longer receive grants anymore. We will go to the market to borrow.
Yes, I saw that. I saw that in your annual report.
Yeah.
Let me share the screen for a second to
Yeah.
show our readers where we are.
Yeah.
Just a second, Parthaje. I just open my screen. Oh. And what we are talking about is this long-term financing total grant funds. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so the
That's
grant
41 is the only fund.
I'll go back. I'll
We
go
receive.
back. This is 41. So this is
Yeah.
for each year. So you had 10 million, then 11, then 13, then it came down to 6, and the total became 41. And after that, you
Yeah.
didn't move. Sorry.
Yeah, we stop it.
Yeah.
And
you didn't
my
move.
board was surprised when I say that we don't want to receive grants anymore. They were
Right.
all surprised
Right.
because this is the first time they heard that there are some funds available, and here is one guy who said that he doesn't need funding.
Right. Did these grants create any constraints for you? Too much reporting, too much work?
No, but it was a philosophical reason I stopped it.
Right. But
And the philosophy is for the
who was
client.
who was giving the grant?
It was a CC Development Foundation and then Nino Kori Aquino Foundation. And through them, there are other individuals. But I
Right.
said, no, you don't directly give it to ASA, but you give it to them. So through them, we receive it. So there are a couple of other individuals
Right. So
gave, but it came through them.
okay, I'm just stopping the screen sharing so that we can go back to you. Um, so since we have very little time left, should we do the second part of the interview on another day, or do you have another 20 minutes?
Well, we can continue another 20, 25 minutes. Then give me a break or 20 minutes break. We can continue again.
No, after that, I have to interview students. So,
Oh, I see. Okay. All right.
okay,
So 20, another 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
For
And
today.
so what I want you to focus now on is, okay, you've started this place. You have tremendous drive. You know, we can see that you wanted to continue and you wanted to create something big, and you managed it. So let's just focus from 2004 to 2018. Okay, and no matter which chart I show you, this I can go back to my screen. No matter which chart I show you, you can see that total revenue keeps on increasing all the way, every year after year. And there's a dip during COVID. You know, except for that, there's never been a dip. And the same thing for expense, same thing for profits, same thing for everything, right?
Yeah.
So what I want to know is that it was so smooth. There were no challenges in all these years.
There were challenges. Every year we had different challenges, different constraints. The first challenge I would say when we started, I thought I'm the expert in the Philippines. I have studied 50 institutions, directly assisted 22 MFIs, which are iconic today. Some of them are globally known, including CARD.
Right.
I was known by almost everyone in the market. But when I started my NGO, I realized that I have no longer friends available. And when you start something by yourself, when you are new in the market, you are simply a nobody. That was the first realization.
Right. How did you
So
feel?
I had to put myself down to earth and then bring up myself through hard work. and establishing our own institution and eventually get the admiration of everyone.
Right.
It took me 7 years, straight 7 years, until we get to the mixed market and our figures started to show some um, um, uh, good ratios. It was only that time my old friends started to calling back.
This was in 2000.
Otherwise, I was not recognized at all. There were even bad mouthing. They used to say my staff or to the client. They would go to the client and say that, oh, the president of ASA, he's just like an area manager of us. And my staff would listen, would know it from the client or through the client, and he would come to me and say me, sir, they're actually saying this. And I would convince them, my dear, does it really matter? If you're not successful, then probably they're right. But if you are successful, then we can make them proven wrong. So let's go back to work, make us successful so that we can tell them they are wrong.
So when did you start giving data to mixed market? When did mixed markets make a change for you?
We started giving 2007 or 8, first data we give, 2000 probably 8.
By then you had already 69,947 clients in 2007 and 100,000 in 2008. So by that time, according to mixed market, you were already a big institution. Already,
yes. You were recognized already a large institution.
Large institution. I think it was the barrier was the first barrier was maybe 30,000 and then the 70,000 or something like that. So in 2008, in 5 years, you made it to a big institution.
The challenges was the human resources. I thought Philippines is a country where you can get professionals every now and then, but our model is very cost effective, salary is low, the rules and regulations are very strict. So we could not have attracted people to join ASA from Metro Manila.
Here it is, number of staff. The number of staff also grew very fast. So by this time you were 365 people. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so number of staff kept growing. So recruiting people was a challenge, but you managed regularly to have enough people. I can see that now you are at 11,000 people.
Yes.
And out of it,
11,000.
I noticed that consistently 66, between 65 and 75 are the ratio of credit officers to staff. And borrowers per credit officers are from 50, it's gone up to 300, and consistently it is around 300.
Yeah, it was only recently went down.
Right, because of COVID.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, just before the COVID, it started to decline.
Right.
It was also because we have expanded so much at the very remote places, and we realized that to achieve the target by number of clients is going to be extremely difficult. So we changed the model, or I could say that we twisted the model.
Right.
We increased the volume of loan rather than number of clients.
Yeah, I can see that the average loan balance has gone up from 70 till 2014. It used to be $70. You know, you can see it was 77, 65, 56, 67, 77, and then suddenly in 2014, I can see that your number of loan balance per borrower has gone up.
Yeah.
So that coincides, that confirms what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
And same thing. While the borrowers per credit officer has been going down to some extent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I understand what you're saying, right?
Probably the number, we're still trying our best to increase increase a bit. We want to increase it by 280 by the end of the December. I'm not sure whether we can make it, but we are trying. However,
what is the population of Philippines?
it's 110 million.
Out of that, how many are poor?
There are two different kinds of measurement to determine the poverty. One is called, there is a national threshold, and the
Right.
other one is self-rated. The
Right.
poor, they themselves the rate.
Right. Subjective.
If we take the national threshold, it would be around between 20-25%.
Right. So that means about 25 million people.
Yeah. But if we go by the self-rated poverty, it would be around 35 to 40.
Right. Okay. So you have a potential for growth.
We have.
Okay.
Yeah. But we are serving. We are not actually counting the total population, but we are counting the households.
Right.
So in our case, we are calculating a household of 10 million that ASA and the other MFIs potentially serve or potentially serve.
Okay. So I can say that the first challenge you had was that you lost friends and competition and things like that. Second challenge was recruiting people.
Yeah.
Any other challenge which came in during these years, these first 14 years? I'm talking till 2018.
Yeah. Well, we quickly realized that recruitment of staff is going to be one of the major challenges. But we were able to change it by changing the model of our HR system. The central office HR system was no longer the responsibility to recruit people. We decentralized it at the branch level. We ask our borrowers to recruit it in our behalf.
Right.
So they started to recommend their children, their siblings, their neighbors, their friends, and 30% of our staff are actually somehow coming from the family of our client.
Brilliant. Okay.
That's one of the major change in the system.
I think Grameen also does that. So that's interesting. Okay. So and the financial crisis did not impact you in any way.
No, 2008 or 2009, it did not. Rather, our growth has been accelerated at that time. But we still had some crises 2008 and 9 because we had first operational issues. The fraud and misappropriation erupted in a couple of branches.
Fraud, okay.
And it was late 2009 and early 2010. It was the natural calamity was the challenge.
So,
we thought that we have to write off everything.
So coming from Bangladesh, you're used to this, no? Especially in the coastal region.
Yeah, but not that frequently. In the Philippines, there are 24 typhoons comes every year. And in some regional areas, these are pretty much devastating. People will lose everything. So unlike in Bangladesh, it doesn't happen every year.
So why do people go back and start in the same region where the typhoon is coming? Why don't they go somewhere else?
Well, it's if it is your home, it's very difficult to leave your place.
But the home will be washed away, no, by these typhoons. There will be no home left.
Yeah, there are some damages. Those who are totally damaged, they get some assistance from the government, from the NGOs, and from local philanthropists. So they rebuild their lives.
Right. In the US, I asked people, and they said, in fact, the insurance company will give you money only to rebuild where you were. They won't give you money to rebuild elsewhere. So it's a different reason for it. But here, I presume there's no insurance for those poor people. I'm talking about very poor people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there might be, if it is coming from the local government, of course, they will not give any assistance unless the constituent is still in the same place.
Right. If local governments, yeah, they will help them in that area. So that's an interesting lesson. Okay, so let's move now.
So
and focus.
Those calamities actually gave us a lesson that for the poor, microfinance is not enough. You have to give them supplementary support. If there is natural calamity comes, you should be standing by them. If there are some death instances happens, you should be standing by them. If there are sickness comes, so we provide. If any death instances happen, principal member, we provide financial assistance for burial support. We provide hospitalization support. We provide scholarship support for the children of our client. We provide business development support. So those things actually came along the way. When we realize
all these are donations, or are they also loans?
No, these are donations. When I say our supplemental support, these are grants. These are grants.
Right.
In 2020, our CSR support was 17 million US dollar in a single year.
Yeah, I don't have those. I just have total expense. I don't have details of the total expense.
I would send you a separate file for this.
Okay. It's okay. Yeah. Okay, so that takes care for this. Let's just focus now on the COVID, because we have 10 minutes left. What happened during COVID? I can see that the number of delinquency went up drastically from 14,000 accounts to 500,000 accounts. That means out of number of active borrowers, 5 or 10%, 27% were delinquent, right? That's what you're saying, 27%. And that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
You recovered. So let's say, how did you react when COVID happened? How long it took you to react? And what did you do? Because I see one thing which was very surprising to me. Expense, in fact, went up from 5 million to 7 million. Is this just loan write-offs, or is it something which you did extra before the expense went down? Because I can understand revenue went down, but usually when revenue goes down, people cut down on expenses. So if you can address all these issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the difference between a for-profit and not-for-profit. Because when COVID struck, it was a surprise for all of us, including myself. But as a general strategy, as ASA is not a stranger for any calamity, we survived Haiyan, the strongest typhoon that ever struck the earth. We survived those, and we realized that we survived those because we tried to return something to the people, and then people embraced it, and eventually they realized that, hey, it's a good institution. They helped us in a very difficult time, so we should reciprocate. So they spread the word to their neighbors and the others. Our growth has been accelerated.
Right.
So that was the lessons we learned in the previous calamities. So during COVID, we also thought that, hey, if we lose everything, we have no regret, because all this equity that we have accumulated, it's not for us. We created it. We created those with the trust and confidence of this poor, and it is for them. So we will do something this time for them. We'll stand by them, and we'll do something extraordinary for them. So during that year, we made a reserve, which is around 86 million US dollar in a single year reserve, in case if we have to write off. It was not a write-off, but making a provisions. 86 million US dollar or 2.6 billion pesos.
So that's this 2 billion.
That's part of the
extra.
cost.
The 2.3 billion extra includes 2 billion pesos.
Yeah. And then 859 million for CSR activity alone.
859 million. Okay.
And in US dollar, it's 17 million US dollar.
Right.
CSR alone. So this has cost us much for that year. If we did not, let's say, loss was 1 billion, which is 20 million, little over 20 million US dollar, but our CSR only is 17.
That 2 billion, the 2 billion fund, we should see somewhere here, right?
Yeah, let's go up at the reserve. Look at here. There is a negative figure on the loan receivable. That's the reserve, 3.3.
This one?
Yes.
Less allowance for probable losses. Okay.
That's the reserve we always keep. Look at the previous year, it was only 1 billion, 1.1 billion.
Right,
but
right.
In 2020, we made another 2.6.
Right. Okay. And this is interesting. Okay, thanks. So you made this reserve for losses, and that reserve for losses reflected in the higher expenses, and that showed the profit. But you must have recovered some of that, no?
Yeah. Well, now we are slowly writing off some of the clients who could no longer recover. We're writing them off, but we are trying to give them an interest-free loan for us to try them if they could come back to the mainstream. So we are using a different funding strategy for those written off clients, as well as our existing borrowers who are in a very difficult situation. Right.
Okay. So you just, okay, I understand. You've written it off. You have not tried to defer the loan. You've not told the people you can pay 2 years later. You just
no. No, it was not rescheduled.
It will not reschedule. Okay, that is very different from what I read in some of the CGAP reports, where many people just rescheduled. So you went further. You said, okay, it's an emergency. We write it off, and you start afresh.
Yeah.
So you've maintained all your clients. You have not lost any of those clients. You lost a few this year, but you got them back.
The written off account for 2020 was around 35, but 2021 is the highest, 187,000 clients. That's I regret.
Right.
But many of them are coming back. Right. Every year we have 10% are coming back every year. Right. If you look at our rate of recovery collection, it's significant. We never saw it before.
Right off. Okay, I don't have that figure here. I have recovery rate.
No, I will give you a different file where you will be able to see the rate of recovery rates.
Yes, I just wanted to ask this. Now this has come back to 93% recovery rate, and portfolio at risk has come down to 1.7. now in 2000, we are in the middle of June. We are at the end of June 2022.
Yeah.
Has this come back to 99% and this come back to less than 1% or not yet?
No, not yet. It's now, as of June, it is 94.21 is the collection rate,
Right.
while PAR is 1.28.
Okay. In microfinance, we often say that, if there's one bad egg, then, there'll be many bad eggs because people will say, oh, he didn't repay, he got away with it. So how do you deal with this?
They call it domino effect. Domino effect happens, but there are also ways to manage it. Because if somebody will not pay,
right,
he will get a chance only for once.
Right.
Right. But
Right.
if he continues to pay, then he sees the opportunities that he can be part of the system for her lifelong.
Right.
And in the case of ASA, it's even much further. If you are part of the system, that you are not only part of the loan program, you are also part of the other improvement of quality of life. You have guarantee. If you die, then you get a guaranteed grant for your burial expenses. And if you're hospitalized, you get some support. Who knows, your son or child, one of the child might get a scholarship someday. You get business and entrepreneurial support.
A lot of incentives.
So on and so forth. So people see it's a combo support or a combo product that people see that if we stick here, we get not only the loan, but there are other benefits too. So why you should believe it?
Okay, so we have 3 minutes left, 3 or 4 minutes. Can you give me 3 lessons which you would like to share with entrepreneurs or innovators? Okay, and say, if you do this from your experience, right? From your experience, these are 3 things which pay off the most.
Yeah. 3 points that you were saying.
Yeah,
that's
3 lessons.
The most important.
I'll switch off the file now. I had to switch it off earlier, but you can see. Okay. Okay, now we should be able to see your full face again on the.
First of all, for an entrepreneur is the self-confidence. You have to believe in yourself. And no matter what are the difficulties comes, you have to stay on foot. The situation will come that you are dying. Well, if death comes, it will come. But I cannot leave my place. I cannot back out. I cannot give it up. And then you have to create your comfort zone, your people. You have to trust the people. Because in ASA, except only one person, which is Barbara, Mohsin knows. She's a Wharton graduate, has a working experience with some US corporation. But rest of the managers, they all came from the periphery, from microfinance office. That gave us extraordinary advantage in the market because they gave everything. They gave their life. They gave their, not only the energy, they gave their thoughts. They gave their hearts. That built up this institution.
Right. Okay.
So self-confidence and trusting people.
Those are 2 things. Okay. Mohsin, do you want to add something, clarify something?
No, I think it was the discussion was so smooth. I just didn't want to interrupt. And besides, probably for years I've never experienced this sort of an internet connection here. It was pretty bad. I was keep logging off and on and off. So I mean, I would say one particular, observation, my experience with ASA is, it is a unique organization that is, by pro poor, mentality is in the DNA. Pro poor attitude, supporting the poor are in the DNA. Another one, I often say it is absolutely opposite, profit over people, because the modern organization, the corporations that we see, profit over people, that's what, makes things really go wrong. And ASA is completely opposite, people over profit all the time in operations management, practice, I would say.
I would like to clarify what Mohsin actually is trying to say.
Yeah.
That during the time of crisis, we try to stand by the people, from not only for the client but also for the staff. So expenses is not the question at all, but we harvest benefit afterwards. If you look at our financial figures for 2021, you'll be astonished. We surpassed the pre-pandemic ratios. It is because we wanted to give everything, both for the client as well as to our staff. So they all gave their heart and soul, and they reciprocated in a greater way that reflected in our financial performance. So I say profit is just the reflection of some of your good work. It is not the mathematical computation always. Of course, mathematics should be there. It's all math, but it is not all math. It is also heart and soul of you and your people.
Right, sir. So I want to thank you for all the time you've given us. I hope, as we discussed earlier, that you would be coming to Dijon one day and speak to my microfinance students. And so, in any case, on behalf of my research cell of SEREN, which is basically the research cell of the School of Business, I want to thank you.
Thank you so much for taking me. It's an absolute pleasure, Dr. Arvind, to meet you and talk to you. Definitely will be very happy if there will be a chance to talk to your student.
Right. I'll stop
Would
taping.
like to invite you if you come someday. Would like to host you to visit ASA. Would like to take you to our operations.
Right. That would be lovely. That would be lovely. Thank you very much. I'm stopping the taping. Okay.
Thank you.